Hello guys, welcome back in Goku Manhwa. Let's continue.
We continue from the previous clash as Dan John and Dan Bacon's bitter quarrel rages on. Their words crash like blades before Yowoon, leaving him restless and displeased. The Grand Guardian suddenly manifests near Yowoon's shadow. Gwon, his anger peaking, yells in shock. What? You dare presume authority over this palace and attempt to forge a pact? Bacon retorts fiercely. And what about you? You hold no rightful claim within these walls either. Gushin's eyes flicker briefly toward Yowoon. His mind sharp with schemes. Everything is falling neatly into place. Even if unsettled, Lord Shon will restrain himself before the gathered council of the Northern Sea Ice Palace. A crooked smile creeps across his lips as thoughts deepen. Even if Lord Shion slays me now, Dan Bacon will inherit only the hatred of those assembled. I must ensure Lord Kion cannot meddle in our affairs. Danjin advances and proclaims, Bacon, if you invite outside aid like this, do you truly think our members will still follow once you seize the divine relic? Bacon, sweat trickling, snaps back. Absurd. Why did you turn to cult leader Kion for the relic then? Was it not because you fear violating our founder's decree? Shion Yo lifts his chin, lightly amused as he murmurs, Decree. Bake hurriedly explains. It is the last will of our founder, a law declaring that whosoever claims the relic shall be the legitimate master of our palace. Danjin quickly presses the moment and urges, Cult leader Kion, I beg you, make the proper choice. If you grant me the relic, our forces will pledge allegiance to your cult. But Beacon interjects, hand raised. Cult leader Kion, do not be deceived by such claims. Meanwhile, Yowoon curved a faint smile and replied, Did you not say that whoever possesses the divine relic becomes the true lord of the Northern Sea Palace? Radiant with triumph, Yowoon lifted the staff forward, icy kai erupting from its tip. This relic now lies within my grasp. Dan Guyon and Dan Bacon's faces twisted with dread as they understood his intent. Guju Kion grimaced, sweat beading as he brooded deeply. What madness is this? Why speak foolishly about the relic now? Kei Wong her behind Yowoon caught his words and smirked slightly, thinking, His lordship never speaks without purpose. He must be aiming to seize dominion over this palace. Mu, standing aside, observed the rising tension and reflected. The plan was only to ally with them. Could this spark uncontrollable resistance? Guyon's gaze hardened as he lowered his eyes. Cult leader Kion, your earlier remark was far too rash. That relic belongs to us alone. It has no link to the dragon-turtle dispute. Bacon too lowered his tone, bowing slightly. Cult leader Kion, though we value your help, if an outsider becomes palace master by merely holding the relic, would that not be unacceptable? Yo fixed his eyes on them and cut in coldly. Was it not your own words? That whoever inherits the divine relic becomes the rightful ruler of the Northern Sea Ice Palace. Dan Julian hastily stepped forward to object. Cult leader Kion, that decree belongs solely to our lineage. It was intended for the Dan family's descendants, not strangers. Bacon immediately glanced at him and gave a slow nod. His claim carries truth. But then Bacon's eyes flickered in surprise as he noticed movement ahead. He recoiled slightly and muttered, What trick is this? Meanwhile, Yowoon lifted two fingers, a surge of burning red kai wrapping around them. In a flash, he unleashed thin fiery blades of kai onto the floor. Each strike etched glowing patterns across the stone. Julian and Beacon stood motionless, stunned as they silently observed. When the dust settled, words glimmered on the ground, carved in a language of old flame. Only the one who masters the blazing sun staff and unlocks its sealed power is worthy of becoming palace master. Yowoon calmly lifted his hand and asked, Was this not the true inscription beneath the founder's altar? Bacon's face tightened as memory struck him. He had only glanced at it once before, yet Yowoon recalled every detail flawlessly. With a steady voice, Yowoon stepped closer. Do you imagine I gained this relic through chance? Then why did your ancestors and past masters fail to ever claim it until now? The first elder beside Bacon grew silent in thought. The young claimant holds legitimacy, yet lacks the mastery to wield even the basic forms of the ice-white divine art. His eyes shifted toward Guyon's back, and his thoughts grew grim. The acting master still holds authority over the North Sea, yet he betrayed us, summoned outsiders, awakened the dragon turtle, and doomed the former master. Murmurs began stirring among the assembly of the Ice Palace. Bacon quickly turned to see their uncertain expressions. One voice rose among them, declaring, Hard as it is to accept, it was cult leader Kyan who destroyed the dragon turtle that none of the past palace masters could defeat and preserved our survival. The other one added, moreover, was it not him who uncovered the relic believed to be lost to time? Dan Bacon instantly noticed their words and thought grimly. Could the palace members be faltering already? Dan Guyon swiftly sent a secret voice message to Bacon. Do you finally see the consequences of your choice? Bacon remained dumbfounded. Gucci exhaled and muttered. So be it then. His tone turned harsh. If this matter is not settled here, our palace will slip entirely under the hands of the Blazing Sect. You would not want such a disaster tearing apart our alliance, correct? Bacon, hearing Guyon's message, hesitated in silence before giving a slow nod. Guyon pressed harder. You carry the Dan family bloodline as well. Therefore, you know of the hidden clause in the Founder's decree. The sacred relic, the Blazing Sun Staff, selects its rightful heir. And what do you believe that standard is? Bacon answered resolutely. The Dan family's blood. Guon nodded at once. Exactly. Even if he is the cult leader, he cannot be chosen by the relic. This weakness must be used. The relic glowed upright before Yo Wu as he observed calmly, letting them finish their quiet exchange. Then Julian stepped forward boldly and cried out, Cult leader Kyan, are you even aware? Our blazing relic has the mystical power to accept or reject its wielder. The assembly gasped loudly in disbelief and awe. Guon quickly added, the Founder's spirit still lingers within it. Yo Wan cast him a cold glance and asked, and if that were true? Dan Basin extended his hand earnestly. Cult leader Kyan, without the relic's approval, one cannot claim its true mastery. Yo Wan gave a quiet sigh, a faint smile touching his lips. So your claim is, can one prove the rightful heir? Guon's eyes shone with delight as he thought fiercely. At last, he has fallen into my trap. With his fist upon his chest, he proclaimed, this relic was forged by the hands of the Founder himself. Thus, our ancestral strength can certainly be proven. Yo's expression stayed calm yet faintly amused. Intriguing. He stepped aside, speaking evenly. Very well, present this proof you speak of. Bacon's eyes widened in shock. What? He is offering us such a chance so casually. Guon's grin broadened with triumph. He must be convinced no such test exists, for he has wielded the relic himself. He will regret this arrogant mercy. He gestured toward Bacon, pressing him to act. Bacon ground his teeth, fury flashing deep in his gaze. So, he thinks me unworthy, and grants me this test deliberately. I will crush his arrogance. Moving forward, Bacon approached the relic. His hand shook as he reached toward it. His thoughts burning, father, ancestors, former masters. He clutched the staff. At once, a flood of fiery Kai exploded, storming outward in fierce waves. Bacon clenched his teeth and prayed silently. Protect this relic. Do not allow it to fall into the grasp of a deceiver. Yet within mere seconds, raging flames consumed him completely. His body shuddered under the pressure, struggling desperately. His mind screamed in disbelief. What overwhelming heat is this? The elder with spectacles behind Bacon quickly called out, Young master, invoke the blazing white arts. Only through endurance can you be accepted. But before Bacon could endure a moment longer, his hair darkened to ash as searing flames pierced through his veins. Then boom, Basin was hurled backward, unable to withstand the relentless blaze of Kai. The elder with glasses rushed forth with swift steps, catching him midair. Young palace master, he cried. Bacon gritted his teeth in agony as the elder inspected his scorched arms, his mind heavy. He was rejected by the sacred relic the instant he invoked the blazing white divine arts. Does this prove the young master was never chosen? Dan Jushun strode forward slowly, his voice resounding through transmission toward Bacon. Foolish, Bacon. There is one truth you remain blind to. Tilting his head, a mocking smirk rose on his lips. Yes, the Dan bloodline is a requirement. But something far greater matters. He sneered as he spoke further. As you've just suffered, to truly wield the sacred relic one must carry the strength and fiery Kai required to dominate it. In short, it cannot be touched by someone who barely commands the fifth stage of the blazing white arts. Bacon only glared at Jion, trembling, rage in his eyes. Guon advanced boldly, extending his hand toward the relic. Cult leader Kyan, shall I prove myself now? Yo's reply carried no hesitation. Calm and sharp. As you wish. Guyon's grin stretched wider as he neared the relic. His hand hovered above the staff as hunger flickered in his gaze. At last, the moment has come. If I am chosen, neither elders nor the security hall can oppose me again. Immediately, he ignited the blazing white divine art. 8th stage. A thunderous shockwave burst forth, the ground shattering as roaring flames spiraled upward with violent crackles. His pride swelled as he shouted within. Witness the blazing white extreme arts. Yet the fire kai only grew fiercer, surging outward, scorching the stones around. Members at the back reeled as burning heat washed over them. Danushan's eyes widened in dread. Glancing at his palm, he muttered, "The flames, they are devouring my hand. What is this?" The force expanded wildly, spiraling out of control. Still gripping the relic, Guyon felt searing agony piercing through him, even with the blazing arts pushed to their peak. I cannot tame it. There is even a strange force repelling me. Why does it deny me? The first elder raised his hand, shielding others from the raging fire kai, shouting quickly. Acting Palace Master, it is too dangerous. Retreat at once. But Julian's eyes turned blood-red as he roared. Silence. Blood spilled from his arm as his flesh burned and blackened. He screamed, I am the sovereign of the blazing palace. Then boom, a devastating blast erupted, engulfing Dan Jushon within the flames entirely. Dan Ju Chen, acting Palace Master, the first elder, cried out in terror. Meanwhile, Bacon, still receiving treatment, watched in shock. Guan collapsed to his knees, panting hard. Large portions of his body seared and blistered. His lips quivered as he gasped. Impossible, how could this occur? Suddenly, a looming shadow fell upon him. Gushin looked upward, teeth clenched in disbelief. Yo stood effortlessly above him. Chan Yo placed his hand casually upon the radiant staff. Now that you have touched the sacred relic directly, do you finally understand? He lifted the staff, resting it easily upon his shoulder. His burning gaze fell upon the kneeling John. What I meant, Yowen said, is when I told you the relic would never be yours. If you enjoyed the tale, leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and strike the bell so you catch the next chapter. Farewell.